Guys, what's going on? It's Nick from DesignsAcademy, and today I'm bringing you guys part 2 of the isometric room modeling series. This is where we left off last time. It's just the basic room with the lighting and the camera set up. So if we just render it out, we also set up our render settings, so you can see we've got the ambient occlusion and global illumination on, giving it all the nice shadows. And this is just what we left off with last time. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out. I will put a link on the screen right now so you guys can watch it and get up to this point. So for this second part of the video, I'm going to be showing you guys my steps in modeling some simple furniture for this kind of low poly theme, and then I will be finishing this room and just speeding it up so you guys can see it. So my plan for this room is to put a desk over on this side and a window over here with a chair and some other stuff, maybe a trash can or something really simple to show you guys. So first off, I'm going to make the window. Alright, so now we are going to make all three of the cubes editable and go over here to this surface tool, and now we can select each individual square. So I'm just gonna not going to be too careful about this, so just holding shift. Oh, you don't want to drag them though, you're just going to want to click, and I'm going to go through, and I'm sure there's a faster way to do this, but I'm just going to go through and without dragging them, hopefully. Let's see, I think we just, okay, so we're just going to do this. If you have that tool selected, then you can drag instead of clicking on each tile. And I'll just select something that I think would make a good size window. Bring it down a few more. Fill in this corner. And now we've got our window area selected. If we can not mess up the camera, that would be good. Somehow the camera has decided to turn upside down. Okay, I'll just go like that. And now what I'm going to do is just delete those. And now if we go on the other side as well and select those, we will have an opening for the window. Delete that, and now we've got an opening in our wall for our window. It's a pretty big window, but it's pretty good. So now what we're going to do is create kind of the outside of the window, some blinds, some stuff like that. So I'm just going to make a quick cube, scale it down real quick. Don't want to change the keyframe. Move it over here. And I'm going to make a little bar to go. Guys, now we're going to create the top part of the window. So we're just going to select this wall, and rather than putting another cube up here, we're just going to extrude these cubes up here. So we're going to go back to our selection tool and grab just a row above that one, and we will deselect this side as well so we don't end up messing with the back side, just in case, even though you won't see that side in the final model. So now all you have to do is get the move tool, and you can just drag it out. And once you drag it out, I'm just going to create a really simple kind of just brown texture for before we make the wood. Something like that will be okay for now, just so we can tell the difference between all of the different areas. So now we'll drag some brown onto all of these, select all those, and then with the selection tool and select all these as well, and go. And I think there's a few more on that side, and then 2 more on that side, and that'll be good. We can drag on this texture now, and now if we go in our view and render it out, once it's done rendering, you can see we've got a nice top to our blinds right here. Just let it render. Now, of course, this isn't going to be the final material because it's very boring, but I'll just give you an idea so you can see the blinds separating from the wall. If you're going to finish this, you're probably going to want to clean up the edges of the blinds just a little bit, but I don't care too much about that. I will fix this corner over here, but other than that, I'm just going to leave it for now, unless of course you want to change some of those things. It looks fine for now. So now that we've got the top part of our blinds, we're going to create the actual blinds coming down from the top part. So I'm just going to make a cube, and we'll zoom out, scale this down, and basically what we're going to do is I'm going to make it editable, and we're going to kind of make a thin kind of plank. Something like that should do it. You can make it however you want, obviously, but this is how I'm going to do it. Something like that, and then we're going to bring it over and make sure that it is somewhat close to the size of the window. So I'm just going to bring it over here, scale it this way a bit, and then we will go about there. Of course, if you're making this an actual model, you're going to want to be a bit more exact of where you're putting things, but this is close enough to the window size. We might actually make it a little bit longer so it covers to both the walls, and move it over a touch that way. And now we're going to bring it out, and I'm going to rotate it slightly this way so that it looks like it's, you know, like a slanted window slate for the blinds. Now, the way that we're going to do this, rather than placing a bunch of them up this wall, is we're going to use a duplicator. So we are going to go into MoGraph and click cloner, and we're going to drag this into the cloner, and you can see it's going to duplicate it. Now we're going to click on the cloner, and we're going to go linear, and we're going to turn the count up a bit, and as you can see, if we zoom out, it has put them all like that. So we are going to mess around with the coordinates a little bit. We're going to change the Y so that they're a lot closer together, something like that. You can mess around with these all a little bit more once you're doing your model. And we're going to bring it close into the wall near the window. Zoom in, put them somewhere closer to where they're going to be, and we will rotate the camera up this way to figure out where to put them into the actual tops of the blinds. Let's make it through the floor. We're just going to put it about there so it looks like it's hanging, and then we are going to re-rotate this one. Oh, that doesn't work. Okay. We're going to go into the cloner, and I think if we go into here, no, we don't want to do that. We're going to turn the count up about one more so that there's actually enough blinds. And then Hayden's chair is really loud. You gonna watch me while I'm doing this? Why? Cool. Cool. What game you installing? Sure. Alright guys, so once we have all of our blinds in the cloner, we are going to press C on the cloner to make them all their own objects. And we are just going to go through on each of these and rotate them. Let's see what a good value would be. We'll rotate them 50 degrees. So we're just going to go through and rotate them all down 50 degrees. If you just hold shift, you can get the nice angles that snap to the increments of 10, so we can get to 50 pretty exactly fairly quickly. And I'll just go through and get the rest of these. Rotate them down. A couple more here. Last one, and then we have made all of our blinds coming out of the top part of the window. So now obviously the blinds are floating at this point, so I'll just add this texture so you can see them a little bit better. If we were to render it out right now, our blinds aren't actually connected to the window, so we're gonna have to add in some.
I like how your fan just as soon as you put something out.
Well, yeah, rendering's pretty strenuous. Yeah. So now we're going to make the rods that are going through the ends of the blinds, which is just going to be a cylinder going up and down. So we'll just move this over here and scale it down. And then going to make it editable, and we are just going to stretch it out. And we'll scale it back down a little bit. And we will move it over. We're going to use the third person view. If you don't know how to get into the third person view, you just click your middle mouse. And we will go to the overhead view and zoom in. You can see our blind right here, and we will move in this to roughly the center and then the edge. And then we can go back into our normal view. We just click middle mouse again once it's selected to get back into it, and we will scale it up so that it goes through all of our blinds. And we're going to move it over a little bit this way because it is colliding with the end of this. And then we've got one of our strings going through our blinds. We'll just duplicate that and move it over this way for the other side. And it looks like they're poking through the top a little bit, so we're just gonna take them, and once we get them in position, we can scale them down this way just a little bit and move them down a touch. And do that same thing to the other one, and then we are good for the strings going through the blinds. Okay guys, I'm back. My cinema fucking crashed. So I've gotten back to the point where I was at before. I'm gonna save it this time. And now we're gonna make the glass for the window. So we're just gonna make a cube, move it over here, and make it editable, and we're gonna scale it down to the size of the window, roughly. He's laughing at me right now.
You look at me like it's need approval from me.
I'm so done right now, you don't even know. Oh, we're gonna go to the other side because it'll be easier to see.
Just do F2. It'll be easier to position it.
Bro. Now we're gonna... Now, the sensible way to do this would be to do this before you cut the chunk out of the wall. but because I didn't think about that, I'm just doing it this way. So now we are going to put it behind the first layer of the wall so that it is inside the wall, like so. Now it is in between the two layers, and we are going to make our glass material now. Pretty simple glass material. I'm sure there's tons of better ways to do this, but basically you're just gonna give the color some blue tint, something like that, and you're gonna turn the brightness down to like 15%, and then you're gonna get the transparency. Remember to unclick specular because nobody likes it. Transparency, and we're gonna turn that up to about 90. We'll turn the color up a bit more so you can see it, and then we're going to give it some reflection, and we're going to turn the reflection down a bit so it's nice and subtle, and we'll drag that onto our window, and now it's transparent. So if we go into our model, save it, remember to save all the time because you never know what's going to happen, and we'll render it out really quick. Hopefully Cinema doesn't crash this time and we can see what everything looks like. You can see with the global illumination all the reflective materials, and if it renders out you'll be able to see the black behind the window because we don't have anything else in the scene, so the background default is just black, and there we go, it's see-through. Alright guys, now we are going to make the simple desk for our scene. I'm going to keep this very basic. You could obviously make it a lot more detailed if you wanted to, but just for this tutorial's sake, I'm going to make it pretty simple. Most things you're going to be making with these models are just going to be based off of cubes, so just keep that in mind. You can make pretty much anything with a couple cubes.
You can't make a sphere.
Okay, Hayden. So now I've got kind of
Leave a like if you like the joke.
the top area of the desk, and we're gonna get it close to the wall but not in the wall. Scale it down a little bit, and somewhere around there. Scale this way a little bit more. Just get it so that it looks kind of right for the size of a desk. And we'll save again just in case. And now we are going to make another cube, scale it down, make it editable, and we are going to go into the top view, and this is the fuck is this? Never happened in my entire life.
Trying to overhaul me.
Now the one time that I'm actually fucking making a tutorial.
Then you saved it.
Alright guys, that's why you save your projects, because Cinema just crashed again. So,
Sound like a teacher.
yeah, save your projects, kids.
Kids.
Yeah,
Save
kids.
your projects, young adults.
Young adults, save your projects. Now we're gonna make the legs of the.
Fun fact. There's 10% of our viewers are girls
Really?
that watch our videos, yeah.
That seems a little high.
10%?
Yeah.
So the 90% of you like little monkeys running around.
I'm just saying. 10%'s a lot.
That is. Some douchebag gonna take a screenshot. Hey, I got 60%.
Alright, so now that we've got the first leg sized up, something like that.
Physics, am I right?
Does that look like tilted to you, Hayden?
Did you do it exactly 90-degree angle? No.
Alright, it looks right. So now that we've got our first one, we're just going to duplicate that, and we'll move it over here, and we'll get it pretty close. Yeah, if you're going to actually do this model, you're probably going to want to go into your overhead view and get these exact F2, or you could just click middle mouse to go
F1 through F4.
switch into all your other views. Now I've got the legs of the table close enough, and here we go. What? You're a big table. Look at that big ass window they got. They don't think they need a big table too?
These are for big boys.
Yeah, this is a room for big boys. Now, we're gonna add our shit wood texture to the table. Just so we can see the difference between the table and the rest of the scene. And if you were actually doing this, you'd probably want to add some shit on the table and on the walls. And probably on the floor too, but I'm not gonna do that. Because, well, quite frankly, I'm done with this tutorial. At this point, Hayden's just making fun of me. It's a rough time. So that's the basic models.
Here, render it out, and then we can do our outro.
This is the basic model of the room. I'll add a few little things, and part 3 for next week, we'll be taking this into Photoshop and making it look all nice.
And if you enjoyed the video, leave a like and comment down below. And if you want to see more tutorials like this, leave a comment down below. And also, one other thing, leave a comment down below on what you would like to see in a tutorial. If it gets enough likes or something like that, and if we think it's a great idea, we'll do it. And then we'll shout you out on it. We'll put your YouTube channel and everything. So keep that in mind. So we'll let Nick do the rest of this.
So part 3 for next week, we'll be finishing up the actual textures for the room, and then rendering it out and taking it into Photoshop and making it look all pretty with some color corrections and stuff like that. Leave a comment down below if you like Hayden being in the tutorials as well.
Yeah, I can give Nick some tips as he's making the tutorial for you guys.
It is helpful to have more than one person working on a thing at a time, so we'll probably be doing that a lot.
Also, if you guys really like me being in tutorials, I'll set up better quality for both of us. Yeah, keep that in mind. So yeah, also leave a like down below if you want both of us doing a tutorial for Nick each week instead of just Lonely Bird Nick doing it.
Alright guys, that was part 2 of the low poly isometric room. It's been Nick and Hayden from DesignsAcademy. Peace.
Yeah, make sure you add that in the title. Nick and Hayden. Make sure mine's a fancy font, so have some hearts around it.
I thought I did.